Okay, guys, it's just ticked round to 6 o'clock UK time, so this is our official start time. So welcome everybody to this special edition of Data Weekender, this AI-900 exam cram session where Pragati Jain, Data Platform MVP, is going to kindly deliver us a session on how best to prepare for this exam. Just a couple of house rules before we get started. Please keep your microphone on mute. Right, if you want to ask a question, please ask it in the chat window. Pragati will take all your questions at the end and I'll be there to relay them to us, so don't fret about that. Make yourself comfortable, we're gonna have a fun hour. Hopefully, I haven't seen this session before, so I'm quite excited to learn something new this evening. As we make our way through, I will pop some links in the chat for feedback. Please, pretty please, can you fill those in for us? They're really important for both Pragati to improve her techniques in her sessions, and for us as well, so we can make sure these events are useful for you. So we really do appreciate your feedback. If you've got any concerns around safety and harassment, then just contact myself. I'm the only moderator in here, or Pragati, or you can send an email to info@dataweekender. So before I hand over, I've got a couple of thanks and just a few bits of information. So Microsoft sponsored our last full Data Weekender event, and as part of that, they've provided us with these 100% discount vouchers for the AI-900 or the DP100. And if you signed up and linked your account and done everything you need to do, those vouchers will be forthcoming. I'm told they're going to be reasonably soon. All right. Big thanks to. Dan, can you just go on mute, please? Big thanks to Pragati for preparing and presenting this session for us. It's very much appreciated. Thank you for giving us your time, Pragati, on a Thursday evening. And a big thank you all to all of you for coming along and getting involved as well, and especially for those who have taken part in the challenge. So by way of an introduction, right, and just to give you some stats around it, we had 164 people take part in the cloud challenge. 50 people completed it. Microsoft, as I said, I've relayed some of this already. They're preparing the vouchers and they're going to issue those directly to those that have completed the challenge. The vouchers are for the AI-900 or the DP100 only, and you can go to the dataweekender.com website, Cloud Challenge, to get the full T's and C's there. And then this is a once-off, right? By coming along doesn't mean you're going to pass the AI-900. You're probably going to need to do more than just attend an hour session, even though I know Pragati will be a very, very valuable hour and you will learn lots, right? And you get lots of tips and tricks around the exam format and the content. You're going to have to do your own study as well to prepare for the exam that's going to come after it. Okay. We've got no exam crams planned for the DP100. If that changes, we'll obviously let you know if we're going to do any of those at a later date. And we will be back very much. Data Weekender will be back for a full instalment. No dates have been set yet, but it's very likely will be later this year. And as I say, here is the link. I will paste these in. I'll paste this link into chat for you as we progress through the session. So don't worry about that. There is a QR code here, and the link is on here as well. I will forward the link in the chat, but you can scan the QR code if you want to too. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Pragati, who can hopefully share her screen, and I'll leave the floor with you, Pragati.
Thanks, Gethin, and yeah, thank you everyone who just joined the session. Let me know when you guys can see the screen. Gethin, can you see my screen?
I muted myself too soon. I can see your PowerPoint, but I can see your slide deck and your slides as well. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Perfect.
So yeah, welcome everyone for my today's session, which is an exam cram session on AI-900, which is a Microsoft Azure AI fundamental examination. And this session has been, organized by Data Weekender, and thank you so much for inviting me for giving this session on this platform. And this is more around the cloud challenge, which Data Weekender started a month back. And yeah, let's see whether this session can be helpful for everyone who's trying to, attempt this AI-900 exam. So just one thing before I start the session, I'll just like to give a short introduction about myself. So my name is Pragati Jain, and I'm a Microsoft Data Platform MVP. I'm also one of the super user at Microsoft Power BI community. So if any of you guys who are active at Power BI community, you'll see a little activity from my side, answering few queries there. And I've got nearly 10 plus years of industry experience, and currently I'm working as a senior data analyst at Trustpilot here in London. One fun fact about me, I'm a painter and I just like to call myself proudly a techie artist. So that's like a hidden thing from my side. Apart from technical work, I actually into soft skill kind of thing. So any of you guys who want to connect with me, one thing, like, I'll be sharing these slides, so you can get these slides from Data Weekender's meetup page. So if any of you guys who want to connect with me or message me with any queries, I've included my connection links here. So I've got my own blog, datavibe.co.uk. You can drop me a message or email there. I've included my LinkedIn profile, my Twitter handle. I've also included my Power BI community profile link in case you want to drop me a message there. And I've also added my Instagram handle here. Now, before I start this session today, I would like to, just show you the agenda, how I have formulated this session all through for today. So this is just a summarized agenda for today. So I have just divided today's session into 4 different parts. The first part is more around overview. So in overview, we'll be just, getting to know what AI-900 exam is, then who should take this exam. And, once you decide to take the exam, then I'll just show you quickly how you can register for the exam as well. Then the second part is more around details on the exam. So like what is the course content for the exam? What are the different topics you need to study for? And then the exam pattern. So exam pattern is more around like what kind of questions you can get, how many questions you get, what time you get to finish this exam, and etc. Then further down, I'll show you a few resources which I myself used to prepare for this exam. And then after that, I'll take you through a few important topics, which I really think will be important for you to, focus more on, because most of the questions you can, expect from these certain topics only in this examination. Then in the end, I'll just share a few dummy questions that I just came up with, like what kind of different questions you can expect in the examination. Then the third section is more around tips and tricks. So based on my experience, I'll just share you what you need to keep in mind one day before exam, and what all things you need to, do before the exam, and how you can give your exam on the exam day. Then the last part is more around, once you pass your AI-900 exam, then I have just listed down few next level certifications which you're interested in. So if you just want to, go thorough and, just pass some next level of certification after this AI-900, then it can be really helpful for you. OK, so let's start with this exam cram session. OK, so the first question I had basically before giving this exam was, what is AI-900? That basically whatever comic gen this cartoon you see on the right, it's basically my expressions which I had before giving this exam. OK, so that's why I just thought of giving it a go on the deck here. So what AI-900 exam is? So AI-900 is basically a Microsoft based exam, and it is more, around the basics of artificial intelligence and machine learning. And along with that, it also focuses on, how you can implement these machine learning or AI based models in Azure environment. Now, this exam is more on a basic side. So I would say if you come from technical background or if you come from non-technical background, doesn't matter, you can go for it. So if you have interest in AI and ML, just go for this exam. Then the third thing on this is, AI-900 is a certification exam. Once you pass that, then you are given a Azure AI Fundamental Certified badge. So to earn this badge, this exam is a prerequisite. So you need to clear this first, then only you'll get this badge. Then the other thing is, once you pass this examination, then there are 2 other next level examinations which you can target. So Azure Data Science Associate and Azure AI Engineer Associate, these are the next level certifications you can prepare for. Though AI-900 is not a prerequisite for them, but AI-900 can really, play a good role in, preparing for these examinations, because AI-900 lays the foundation of what AI and ML is and how it can be used in Azure. And Azure Data Science Associate and Azure AI Engineer Associate, these exams are the next level of what AI-900 is about. So that's what AI-900 is. Then next, after knowing about AI-900, then the next question is, should I take this exam? Now, I mean, it's from my point of view, if you have interest in artificial intelligence, you want to learn how you can implement different machine learning algorithms in Azure no-code environment, then go for it. This exam is for you. You can prepare for this and just give this exam a shot. And the other thing is, if you guys come from a data science background, then it could be beneficial for you while preparing for this exam, because you are already aware of those basic concepts of data science and different machine learning algorithms. So for example, I come from a data science background. I've done my master's in data science and analytics, and I've been working with for last few years with the data science team and helping them with the implementing and developing these data science models. So it was easy for me to grasp these basic concepts. But if you don't have experience, no worries. I know people who had no data science background, but they really killed this exam with a very good score. So if you're interested in machine learning and AI, just go for this exam and just schedule it. So the next thing, once you decide, okay, I want to give this exam, then the next things come. Is you need to register for this exam. So if you see on here, I have included the registration link. I can show it to you. So once you click on it, it takes you to the Microsoft's certification exam page. Gavin, you can see the screen, right? My browser as well.
Yeah, I can see your browser.
Yeah.
I can see your browser.
Cool. Cool. Yeah. I just wanted to make sure I shared my screen, not just PowerPoint. Thank you. So on this page, when you scroll down, there's a section saying schedule exam. So there are 3 different options you can use, and as this exam is going to be online, virtual, so you'll need to schedule your exam with maybe Pearson VUE. I did it with Pearson VUE, so you can schedule the exam, and here on the right you can see the price for the exam. So currently it says in dollars, but if you select your country, so for example, if I select UK, it shows me in pounds. So that's how you can judge the price, how much this exam is for. But before registering for the exam, one prerequisite is you need to have a Microsoft account. So if you don't have a Microsoft account, then you can't register for the exam. So it's a very easy thing to do. Just go to this link and create your account here, okay? Sign up and create a new account, basically. So once you create that account, then you can go back to, so once you have that account in place, then there's a dashboard link attached to your account. So if you have got a Microsoft account, and if you click on this link to the dashboard, then it takes you to your Microsoft Learning dashboard. So this is my dashboard. I've logged in with my credentials. So once you have that, then from here you can schedule an exam. So for example, I can show it to you. So this was the last exam I passed. That's why whenever you open your Microsoft certification dashboard, it shows you the last exam which you cleared up. So that's what it is showing for me. And now suppose if I want to schedule another exam, then this is the option. I click on schedule next exam. It takes me to my Microsoft certification exam. From here, I need to search which examination I want to go for. So for example, this is AI-900, which is Azure based. And you can find it under data scientist role as well. So if you click on this, select the exam. Now for non-students, you need to select this. If you're a student, then you can select go with this, okay? But I'm not a student, so I select this. And once you select that, it takes you to a new page where you need to fill all your basic details, okay? And once you fill all the basic details and hit continue, it will take you to the next page where it will give you an option for the date and time when you want to take the exam. So select your required date and the appropriate time when you want to give this exam. And after that, it will take you to a payment page. Once the payment is done, then Microsoft sends you a confirmation email, which is somewhere around like something like your exam is scheduled for, say, XYZ date at ABC time. So yeah, make sure you get that email. If you don't get that email after payment, then please go and email Microsoft, okay? So that's how you can schedule and register for an exam. So once you register for the exam, The next thing is what you need to check is exam details in a thorough way. In a thorough way, I mean you need to know what all topics are included in the course of this exam and what all detailed topics are there under those main topics. So I've included the link here. If you click here, it opens a PDF, okay? So that's where the course for AI-900 is listed, and here you can see all the skills that are measured in this examination. But one thing on the top, if you see, this exam was updated on 23rd April 2021. So one thing on that is every year Microsoft tends to update most of the certification exams with some new course, or they just make changes to the existing course based on the updates they have on the tools and technologies. So for example, when you open this exam AI-900 course details, it clearly says it was updated. So whatever skills which are mentioned here, if you scroll further down, there is another section for that skills measured, but that skills measured is based on the updates they did on April 23rd. So for any certification exam which you are planning to go, if you see this kind of message at the top, I would say scroll down and go to the second section for these skills, because that's the updated skills based on the latest update what they have done for this exam. So for example, if you scroll down, you can see the main topics like AI workloads and consideration that constitutes 15 to 20% of this exam. And it has got certain subtopics under it, what all topics you need to know about, for example, responsible AI, what are the basic forecasting workloads. So I'll be taking you through few of the definitions during this session. Then the second part is fundamental principles of machine learning. It clearly says it constitutes 30 to 35%. So make sure you are thorough on this topic, because based on my experience, you'll really get many questions from this part. So you really need to, take this topic very seriously and prepare extra for it. Then if you further scroll down, you can see the change what Microsoft did. OK, so those are the changes highlighted on the skills page. So it clearly says Microsoft just removed this topic from April 23rd. So yeah, that's why I said, like, make sure you refer the skills on the second section of the skills measured link. So that's where from where you can see what this course is about and what all topics are there in this course. Now, on this slide, I have just given a high level view of the topic. So if you go back to that skills measured, there are 5 high level topics. Sorry, has anyone got any question? Okay, so these are the high level topics, and these topics are further split into subtopics, which you can get on this link here. Now, once you know what your course is about, I just wanted to give you an idea about the exam pattern. So this exam had different, formats of questions. So the 4 formats of questions which I saw while giving my exam few weeks back was, the first part was multiple choice question. Now, multiple choice question can have like 2 types of question within it. One question will have a single choice and the other question will have more than one answer. So that is clubbed into multiple choice question. Then the second type of question, what you can expect is a drag and drop question. Now, drag and drop question is more around, on the left, you'll be given certain options, and on the right, you'll have certain answers to it, and you have to just drag, options from left to right and match the most appropriate answer you think is the right one for those options on the left. So those are drag and drop kind of options, questions. Then the third type of question you can expect is true false questions. So they'll give you like certain statements and you have to just mark true or false against them. That the last format of question you can expect is fill in the blanks. So they'll give you a statement and you'll have a drop down to select the best option that completes that statement. So in one of the slide, I'll give you one example for all these questions. So it will make things more clear. Then the other thing about this exam is the exam duration is for 90 minutes and the passing score is 700 out of 1000. And the number of questions. So obviously, after giving my exam, I just don't remember the exact number, but I remember there were some questions around 50 or 51. So I gave a range of 50 to 53. So you can expect questions between this range, and you have to finish them in 90 minutes. And trust me, those 90 minutes are more than enough to finish these 50 questions. Because if I remember, I just finished them within an hour. So you'll have basically extra time to review your questions and answers. OK, so it's fine. Then apart from these scored questions, these 50 to 53 questions are scored. So whatever answer you give these questions, you'll be given a score for them. But there are certain unscored questions also in this exam. Now, by unscored question, I mean there are some feedback questions. Now, there are two types of feedback questions. The first type is Microsoft will ask you general experience of yours, like how was it while giving this examination? Was your process smooth? Did you find any challenges? So that's first type of feedback questions you can expect. And the second will be feedback on questions. So for example, if you're going through these questions and you just suddenly find like this question has got these 4 options. I mean, I'm just giving an example. It doesn't happen. So suppose if you're on a question and there are 4 options for that question, and you just suddenly realize, no, these 4 options are wrong. That I mean, none of these is an answer, but there is no option saying none of these. So you can actually give a feedback to an individual question as well. So these are the 2 kind of unscored or feedback questions you can expect in the exam, but there is no, it's not important to answer these unscored questions. OK, you can leave them out. If you don't have time, don't do them. But if you have extra time, go for them if you want to. So it's completely up to you. If you have time, but you don't want to do, just submit your examination and you can finish it. But if you really want to give them, you can give them, but you won't get any marks for them. So these are just voluntary type of questions, just to, give a feedback to Microsoft. How was my experience, or how was your experience with this online based certification exam? OK, so now we know the exam pattern. Now I have included some resources which you can use to prepare for this exam. So the first and most important resource is Microsoft Learn Paths. Trust me, guys, you don't need anything apart from these Microsoft Learn Paths for this examination. So I've included the link here. I can show it to you quickly. You click on it. So you go to the Microsoft certification official page where there are details for AI-900. Now, if you scroll down after schedule exam, you see these here. OK, 2 ways to prepare. Now, there are 2 ways. One is online free, and the other one is instructor led, which is paid. You don't need instructor-led training for this exam. Just go for these free learning modules, what Microsoft has given you, and they're more than enough to prepare for this exam. So just go through them, make all the necessary notes you want while going through this exam, because your notes are really important, especially a day before exam when you want to revise all the concepts, because there are so many things in these modules. It's just not easy to remember everything. So you can just go through these exams and you should be able to clear your exam AI-900, because I just went through these courses and just cleared my exam. Then the other path, OK, so there are 2 YouTube links I would like to point. I mean, I just went to I just referred one of these. So one of the YouTube link is from John Saville. So he has prepared, I think, a video which is just like for 50 or 52 minutes, but that video is quite important. So all the topics which you see here, he has just tried to summarize most important concepts on this examination in that 50 minutes video. So, I mean, just a day before exam, luckily I found this link and I went through it just to revise all the main concepts that are included in this exam. And I really found it useful because he explained everything in so easy way. Like if you don't know anything about, predictive modeling or artificial intelligence or what computer vision is, all those kind of things, and he has explained them really well. You can even watch it today if you just like, because it's just like a 52 minutes video. So in that many minutes, he has just answered all the questions and all the concepts he has explained really well. Then the other one is a guide to cloud. So a guide to cloud is a YouTube channel. And on there, he has created a AI-900 study playlist. Now, this playlist has got 10 videos. The good thing about this playlist is he hasn't explained everything in a single video. He has split every concept into different videos. So he came up with those 10 small videos, which basically you can, complete on your own pace whenever you want to do them. So that's a good thing about this playlist. So if you like learning from YouTube videos, then I would say go and watch these 2 YouTube links, which are really helpful. Then the third part, I just thought of, including my notes. If any of you guys are interested in getting some summary notes on exam AI-900, then I have included my notes here. So basically, when I prepared for this exam, I took nearly 1 month to do that, because I know many of the people just clear this exam by hours of study or just a day's study, and they just cleared the exam. But I'm kind of a person, I really take time to grasp concepts, and I really want to learn things in detail. So I just gave time after my daily work job, and it took me like 1 month, because I was very slow in learning things and I was doing things on my own pace. So in that 1 month of time, I basically created few notes while going through all the topics of this exam, and I just created few notes out of it in form of 5 blogs. So I've included the link to this blog here. So basically these blogs are on my blog website. So if you're interested, you can refer them here. If you don't want to refer them, that's fine. Don't refer them. It's fine. But I just thought of including it if any one of you just want to go through those summary notes. So these are the resources I suggest you should follow for this exam, because they're really good. And Microsoft Learn Parts, they're amazing. They're amazing. They have explained everything in such beautiful way, and they have given such real world examples to explain every scenario. So it's more like you don't have to cram things. It's more like you understand them in a real world way. So yeah, it's pretty good. Just go through those parts. You'll clear the exam. Now once we know what exam AI-900 is, we know you want to give the exam, the course structure, what this exam has got, and the resources, okay, what resources you can follow. So the next thing I want to show in this today's session is what topics you need to focus. Now, the only reason why I gave this thing topics to focus on is because I felt while giving this exam that there are certain topics which included, most of the questions in the exam. So I just thought I'll just list those topics down, because I had these topics written on a paper while I was, after giving my exam, like all these topics were, they contributed most of the questions in the exam. So based on my memory, I've jotted everything down here, so it should be helpful for you in a way. So the basic definitions. Now what machine learning is, I think most of us must be knowing what machine learning is, what anomaly detection is, but there is a catch. Microsoft will never ask you in the exam what machine learning is, and then you have 4 options. They'll just tell you this is the scenario. They'll give you a real world problem, like for example, identifying frauds in the credit card transactions. What is this example of? It's basically an example of anomaly detection, because frauds within credit card transaction is a kind of unusual behavior you see, right? So it's an example of anomaly detection. So that's the kind of questions you can expect based on these definitions. They'll never ask you straightforward definitions, but they'll give you scenarios and ask you which scenario suits to which area of AI. Okay, so that's why you don't need to cram these definitions. You just need to understand their practical application in the real world scenario. I'll take you through these definitions just after this slide and in short. So, but yeah, let's just see what all things we have. Then the next one is responsible AI concepts. So in Azure, Microsoft Azure, when you're trying to create or develop a AI model, then there are certain principles on which AI works. So those are the free, how many? 6. There are 6 different principles on which AI works. So you need to know like what all these definitions are about and what they actually mean. Then the third part here is model creation and deployment in Azure ML. Okay, so first thing here, whenever you'll be going through those Microsoft Learn paths, there will be certain exercises in those modules, okay? And while you have to do those exercises, you'll need a free, you'll need an Azure subscription basically. So if you have your own Azure subscription, it's good. But if you don't have, don't worry. You can register for a Azure free subscription on Microsoft's website, and that subscription is valid for 12 months. And they also give you a free $200 credit. So to do any of these exercise on like how to create a regression model in Azure Machine Learning Studio, or how to create an anomaly detection model in Azure Machine Learning Studio, you need to have this Azure subscription. So I've included the link here. You can click on it and you can basically create your account here. OK, so that's how you get that free Azure sub. So you can see start for free, right? So click on that and it will take you and make you register for a free Azure subscription. So you'll need this to perform those exercises. And one thing, guys, don't skip those exercises, because those exercises are a bigger part of the questions you are asked in the exam. Because generally, I have seen people just go through the theory, they just miss or skip the exercise part, and they just think like it will be OK. No, but it's not like that. You need to understand how to build and develop those models in Azure Machine Learning Studio. Otherwise, you'll not be able to answer a few of the questions that you'll see in the exam. So you need to make sure you understand how to create a model in Azure ML, because there are certain steps when you create a model in Azure ML. I'll show you in next few slides. So it's important to understand every node, what every node does while you're creating a model. And you'll get some questions based on that flow as well in the exam. So make sure you do those exercises in a good way and you understand everything. Now the next. So I'll just take you through these summary definitions in short. So OK, so I've just got mostly few pictures here. The reason why I have got pictures are like visualization has a very big impact on myself. So I just feel like, everyone can perceive information in a good way when it is represented visually. So I just thought of getting some pictures and telling you what these concepts are. So for example, the first picture here says machine learning. Now, machine learning is more around, making a machine learn from different patterns or relationships you feed in it. Now, for us humans, how we learn things more around with our experiences, right? We gain experience, we learn things, we make mistakes, but then we learn things, right? So for a machine, in the same way, you have to feed those kind of experiences so that machine can learn from it. And those experiences we feed in the form of data. And then when machine finds different patterns or different relationships between different features in the data, then they try to learn things. So that's what is machine learning. And the other thing is machine learning is basically the foundation of artificial intelligence. So machine learning is everything. And from there you go and implement or create an AI model, basically. So that's what machine learning is on a high level. And there are examples of machine learning. For example, in the real world scenarios, if you want to forecast weather conditions. So for example, forecasting weather condition could be really helpful in farming sector, because it can tell farmers like when to crop their plants or when to harvest their plants, when it will rain. So they can judge on whether their plants need extra watering or not. So that is one of the use case where machine learning can help into farming sector. But obviously machine learning has done brilliant jobs in every other field I know today. So yeah, I think so yeah, that's what machine learning is. Then next is anomaly detection. OK, so this is kind of a favorite picture of mine here. So anomaly detection is basically more around, finding unusual patterns in the data. Now, if you see in this image, it clearly says like this group of fish, all the fishes are moving to the left, but there's one fish moving to the right. So that's basically a weird pattern seen in this group of fishes. So it's kind of, relating to an anomaly here. So that's what anomaly detection is. And as I said, one real world example for anomaly detection is basically identifying credit card frauds. So that's an implementation of anomaly. Now here, the next one is computer vision. Now, computer vision, if you relate from the word, computer vision is something, whatever computer or a machine sees and interprets in a good way, that's what computer vision is. So for example, if you feed some image or a video to a machine, then machine will try to perceive that information in some way, analyze it, and try to interpret it or give you some results based on their understanding. So that's what computer vision is. So whatever a machine sees, they try to interpret it and give you a result. So that is computer vision, simple, sorted. So basically just relate to the words vision, what you see, right? So you can relate what computer vision is. So similarly in this image, if you see, the input is a bowl full of fruits, and that is given as an image input to a machine, and machine tries to analyze that image somehow and gives the output in this form. Basically, the machine just interpreted it correctly, like there's a bowl, right? There's a bowl and it has got all these fruits in it: orange, banana, peach, mandarin, apple. So that's what computer vision is. Machine saw that and interpreted it and gave us an output. So that's simple computer vision. Now, one thing about computer vision is when you're trying to create a computer vision algorithm using Microsoft Azure. So Microsoft has, basically got its own algorithms, which you can use to generate these kind of outputs or analysis. But one thing different to it is custom vision. Now, custom vision is basically a subcategory or, sub classification of computer vision, I would say. So you have computer vision at the top and then custom vision is something below it. So custom vision is more around when you can, feed in your custom grouping images to do some kind of predictive analysis. So in computer vision, you have option to only choose what Microsoft has got their inbuilt predictive algorithms to do predictive analysis. But in custom vision, you can actually give your images as input, as group of images, and then you can try to generate some output. And custom vision is mostly used in image classification and object identification. But computer vision is used in many other things like face detection, image classification. Then you have got this optical character reader. So one thing here I just want to highlight, make sure you understand the difference between computer vision and custom vision. You can expect like a question, 1 or 2 questions from there. And I think that 1 or 2 questions sometimes make a difference. If you really know it, you at least know the right answer, because you never know what other questions are going to be. So make sure you just understand the difference between computer vision and custom vision. Now, the next thing here is natural language processing. As the word says, natural language processing is more around making a machine understand what a human is saying. So for example, I think most of you guys must be having like Alexa or Google Home at your home, or maybe a Siri in your iPhone, right? So for example, when you say Alexa, can you tell me today's weather? Then Alexa just responds to you, yeah, today's weather is cloudy, a bit rainy. So that's what natural language processing is, because you asked Alexa what the weather forecast for today is, and Alexa interpreted your input in a good way and gave you the right answer. Like today it is cloudy and rainy here in London. So that's what natural language processing is. And yeah, that's the real world example using Alexa or Google Home at your home, even your Siri. Next is conversational AI. Now, again, conversational AI is a subclass of natural language processing. And I think for conversational AI, I'll give you directly an example. When you try to chat online to a service representative or sales representative. So these days, most of the websites, what they do is they direct you to a automatic chatbot, basically AI chatbot, and you start your conversation with an AI chatbot. The AI chatbot answers your questions to an extent he can understand you, and once he doesn't understand, he directs you to the human representative, basically, right? So that's what conversational AI is, basically making a conversation with humans where chatbots try to interpret what a human is trying to communicate. So that's what conversational AI is. So one thing, guys, I would like to tell you here is, these names of these things, just try to remember concepts using that. Like, for example, conversational AI, doing a conversation, right? So that basically makes you remember things. I mean, these are just simple tips and tricks what I followed while doing things. Anomaly. Now, anomaly is like a unusual pattern or a weird behavior seen, right? So try to do it that way. Then computer vision. Now, vision is something what a machine can see. custom vision, what a machine can see using some custom input given to them. Natural language processing. Now, natural language is what humans speak, and processing is about processing that language in a way by a machine. So yeah, try to relate things with the topic name. So you'll just remember everything, and try to relate it to an example, then that will make you remember it in a better way. So that's just like a tip for you guys if you want to follow it. Then the next section. Now here we saw responsible AI concept. So that's what I have explained here. Now, basically, AI is a very powerful tool, and it can be used, in generating multiple beneficial solutions in the real world, basically. So using different tools and technologies. So at Microsoft, basically, AI development follows 6 principles. OK, so the first principle is fairness. So the simple thing is AI system should treat everything same. They should not do any partiality between them or without any bias. So if you see this image, the first image looks biased. So one person is given a higher weightage and the other one not. But if you see the right image, that is a fair, judgment there. So that's what fairness in AI is. Now, reliability and safety. Now, reliability and safety in AI is more around the AI system should work reliably, and obviously they should be safe to use without generating any negative impact. So if you see the image, it just shows me a machine, a robot, which has got like fire sparks around it, and it just says game over. Basically, my machine just stopped working. So AI should not be like that. It should be reliable. When it is developed, it should be reliable, and it should be safe because it can generate some hazardous thing, right? So it should be safe to use. Basically, that's what I mean to show here using this image. Then the third principle is privacy and security. So AI systems should be secure and they should respect everyone's privacy. So for example, when you go to banks, they ask you your personal information, basically your PII information, which should not be given to any third party. So that's what our AI should also do, right? So they should take every information and keep it private and secure. Then the next principle is transparency. So transparency is more around, however you built an AI system, it should be easily understandable. So if anyone goes and sees how that AI model has been implemented or deployed, then they should be able to understand all the steps in a good way, in a clear manner. So that's how the AI system should be. Then the next principle is inclusiveness. Obviously, the word inclusiveness is more around include. So inclusiveness means they should engage everyone. AI system should engage everyone. OK, so this is like a simple image where everyone is in a meeting and everyone is trying to give their views. So that's what inclusiveness is. Accountability. Now, accountability is more around that whatever AI system is developed, it should be developed within a governed framework. And if something goes wrong, they should be accountable to it. OK, so that's what accountability is. Now, one thing on these AI principles, you'll never be asked the straightforward definition, what reliability and safety is. They'll just give you a real world example of, like, for example, a customer goes to a bank, they gave their details and the bank referred their details to a third party company. So what AI principle has been, broken there. So you'll be given all these 6 examples and you'll have to select one option. In my view, it is privacy and security, right? So that's the kind of question you can expect on AI principle. They'll never ask you direct definitions, but they'll give you some scenario where you'll need to choose from, OK, which one is the right question, right answer, or which scenario, suits to the best AI principle. So that's how you'll get questions around this. So try to understand the definition. Even when you'll be going through the Microsoft Learn parts, they have included quite good examples while explaining these definitions. So it will be easy for you to, remember things. OK, so now this is around Azure machine learning. So if you see this third part, model creation and deployment in Azure ML. So that third slide, that next slide is around that. Obviously, I don't have enough time to, show you how to create this model because it takes a lot of time to do that. But yeah, I've just got like a screenshot here. I hope everyone can see it clearly. So this left image here is basically what a Microsoft Azure Machine Learning Studio looks like. And once you create a model there, it's like basically a flow of steps. Like this is the first step, this is the second step, this is the third step. And all these blocks, which you can see here, these white rectangular boxes, these are nodes. These are known as nodes. So I've just got an example for that flow chart here to just make it bigger. So you can clearly see some nodes here. For example, this is the input data. Once you get the input data, you select columns in the data set. OK, so before doing that, so how a machine learning algorithm or a machine learning model train works is like you bring in the input data, you clean the data first, because yeah, your data should be clean, right? If there is unclean data, then it could lead to wrong predictions or wrong analysis. Then the third thing is when you're trying to predict something, you need to select which all important columns you can use. So these columns are known as features in data science language. So that's what this step is around. And once you are done with that, you try to split your data into train and test set. The reason is you train your model on a training data set, a smaller part of data, and then you test it on the remaining test data set just to confirm your predictions. So that's a high level view how a predictive algorithm is implemented. So for example, here you can see this is the input data. Then you select those columns in the data set which you just want to go forward with and use for prediction. Then you clean the data. And once the data is clean, you normalize it. And after normalizing, you again select. OK, so this will completely depend on you whether you want to do these steps twice or you can just do them once as well. So it will completely depend how you want to do it. This example, what I took, there are 2 nodes for select columns in dataset, but that's fine. Then once you have selected and have your data in the right shape, OK, this is what I'll use for running my model in future or in next step, I just split the data into train and test. And one node goes to train model, and train model is your predictive model which you want to run. Now this model depends on what kind of data you're trying to predict. I'll take you through them in the next few slides. And you train the data, then you score the model based on the trained data, and you feed your test data to your score model and then generate the outputs and evaluate the model. So that's the basic, flow of creating a predictive model in Azure Machine Learning Studio. I know some of these terms might not be making sense to you right now, but when you start going through those Microsoft Learn paths or study material, then you'll understand everything what this is about. OK, then there are a few more topics of focus that I wanted to include. So as I showed you, once your model is analyzed and you have evaluated the model and you have got some outputs, then there are certain parameters on which you evaluate your model, whether your model is performing well or not. OK, so there are different metrics you use to do that. And some of these metrics are listed here. Now, I'll not be taking you through these definitions here because these are more like mathematical formulas, OK, like mean absolute error, root mean squared error, coefficient of determination, relative absolute error, ROC curve, precision recall. So these are kind of more mathematical stuff which I'll not be taking you through in this session, but these are the definitions you need to know. Because you can just get like straightforward questions there, like which of the performance metric you may use while you're implementing regression, or you can get direct questions like what is mean absolute error is, and then you'll have like 4 different formulas in the option, and you have to select the formula which actually represents mean absolute error. And one thing to point in this is confusion matrix. Make sure you understand what confusion matrix is, because you can expect at least one question from it. If I remember correctly, I had 2 or 3 questions from confusion matrix and they were a little confusing. So yeah, make sure you know what confusion matrix is. Then you should know what different ML techniques are, and especially with their real world examples. So for example, what supervised learning is, what unsupervised learning is, then what is regression, classification, clustering. So I'll just tell you a little bit. So machine learning has got 2 main areas. One is supervised, one is unsupervised. Now, supervised learning is more around when you have got historical data and whatever you're trying to predict, you have got in your historical data. So for example, predicting sales. Now, for a company, you'll have the historic sales and you're trying to predict that sales column for the future. So that's what supervised learning is. Now, unsupervised learning is you have historic data, but you don't have the column or label which you're trying to predict. So for example, if you're trying to group customers based on their similarities of purchase, so that's an unsupervised kind of learning. OK. Then the further down the line, supervised learning is divided into regression and classification. Sorry, guys, you just imagine that. And unsupervised learning has got clustering in it. Now, regression. Now, regression is more about when you're trying to predict something numerical, like, as I said, predicting sales of a company. In that case, you'll use a regression kind of technique. And suppose what classification is more around when you're trying to predict something which is binary in way. So for example, if a loan company wants to predict which customers are defaulters and which are non-defaulters, so they are trying to predict two category, basically categorical information. So in that case, you'll use classification kind of technique. Now, what clustering is? Clustering is more about segmenting or grouping people in a group based on their similarities. So that's what clustering is, and clustering is an example of unsupervised learning. So when you're, reading about these ML techniques and definitions, make sure you know about their real world examples also. Like I just gave a quick example. So you should know how you'll be using them, because again, I'll say they'll never ask you what regression is. They'll just give you a scenario and ask you which machine learning technique you'll use to predict this scenario. So make sure you know the examples and real world examples. Then this section, as I've got some time left only. So this section is more around the other definitions I've highlighted here. So for example, chatbot service, QA maker, then what is speech translation, what is speech synthesis. Then there's a text analytics API, which has got two different parts of it, speech to text, text to speech. Then there is called sentiment analysis. OK, now sentiment analysis is very important. You'll get few questions from sentiment analysis. You may expect some real scenarios, like, for example, in which scenarios you can use sentiment analysis. OK, so what different customers are talking about a brand. So for example, whether they're talking positive about the brand or negative about the brand, or their comments or reviews are very neutral. So in that case, you use sentiment analysis. So yeah, just make sure you know what it is and where you can apply it. OK, now this slide is more around, if you remember in the starting, I showed you what all different question types or formats you can expect in the exam. So I just got some. OK, these are not the real questions. These are just created randomly. OK, so if you select this, if you see the one on the top left, this is an example of multiple choice question. So for this question, you'll have one option which is right, but even you can have similar questions which have multiple answers also. OK, then this question is more around true or false format. So you have all these statements and you have to select whether they're true or not, true or false. Yes or no. Then this is more around drag and drop. So on the left, you have got all the options. On the right, you have got these answers. You need to drag and drop which one best matches the options on the right. So that's the drag and drop kind of question. This one is fill in the blanks kind of question. So you have got a statement and then you have to select which one is the best appropriate option that makes this sentence meaningful. So that's the fill in the blanks kind of question. Then the other type of question, what you can expect is this one. So whenever you create a predictive model in Azure machine learning algorithm, Azure Machine Learning Studio. So as I mentioned before, you end up creating this kind of flow, OK, with different nodes. So what they can ask you is they'll give you a flow and they'll just ask you, what is this missing node? Now, if you see it properly, this is basically split node, which is splitting your data into train and test. So that is the kind of questions you can expect in this format. So this is the additional one you need to keep in mind how you can answer these questions. Okay. Now these are completely based on my experience. Everyone can have different experience, but I just thought of sharing it as part of this exam cram session. So now one day before exam. So as I said in the starting, whenever you register for the exam, Microsoft sends you a confirmation email, which gives you details around when your exam was scheduled. But if you scroll down that email, then they clearly list few steps which you need to do one day before your exam. OK, and please do this. OK, on the day of exam, it could panic you if something doesn't work. So one day before, try to do them. The first thing you need to do is system test. Make sure the machine or laptop, whatever you are using for the exam to take, you need to run a system test on it, and you'll get all the steps in that final confirmation email from Microsoft. And along with that, you may also need your phone, because sometimes they ask you to verify a few things from your phone, from your number as well. So make sure you do this first part. OK, the second part is keep ID ready. So you need to have a proper ID, because as you know, this is an online virtual exam. So they need to verify you somehow, right? So you need to have a valid ID in hand. So like, for example, I use my passport. So you know, invigilator can ask you anytime, maybe on the day of exam as well, to show your ID. So make sure you have it with you. Then this is the most important thing, guys. All the preparation, what you have done in last few days, few weeks or months, this is the day you need to revise everything, because this is really the key important part of, you know, just killing an exam. Because whatever preparation you do, and if you just don't revise everything, especially a few days before exam or just a day before exam, I mean, there's no guarantee you will, you know, remember all the concepts properly. So make sure you revise your notes, because you did a lot, you have put in a lot of effort in last few weeks preparing for the exam. And I'm sure whoever of you is going to prepare for it, make sure you generate notes, because that summary notes will help you a day before exam just to revise every concept, because there's a lot in this exam. You can't remember everything. OK, so just having those written down points will help you a lot. So make sure you do it. Then last but not least, have a good sleep one day before exam and just relax your mind, because whatever you have prepared, just trust it. You'll go through the exam really well. So make sure you do that. Now, during exam, I have got few tips for you. So the first tip is be calm, don't panic, just trust whatever you have prepared. OK, just trust on yourself. Then the second thing is this exam only gives you 90 minutes to finish it. And trust me, those 90 minutes are more for this exam. You'll definitely finish it maximum in an hour, and you'll still be left with 30 minutes. So yeah, don't panic. 90 minutes are a lot. You can even go through those feedback questions if you like. OK. Second tip is, first thing, read the questions properly. Because I realize, like, sometimes what happens is you read the question and you just tick the answer, but actually that question is tricky sometimes, and you don't realize that tricky part of the question. So make sure read the question properly. If not once, read it twice or thrice, and then go to the answer, like which is the most appropriate answer. OK, then the second point on this second section is answer the ones that you're confident about. Don't just, you know, waste time on the questions which you're not getting anything on it. For example, there could be some tricky questions you're not able to understand. So no problem, just go forward to the next question, come back to them later. Now in this Microsoft examination, what you can do is, if you want to come back to a question, you can mark it. There's an option on the top of your screen to mark the question. So just mark the question, because there's always option to return to the marked questions. So just do a little bit of time management while you are giving this exam. Don't rush, don't panic, just do the ones which you really know well in the first go, and come back to the ones on which you're taking time. Yeah, and then the last tip is, before submitting the exam, please make sure to review our answers once. OK, because this is really important. Sometimes we think everything is good and we just hit submit, but I would suggest, I'm hoping everything is fine and you can directly hit submit, but just go and review them at least once. OK, just go through them once. It will just give you another level of confidence. Yeah, I have given right answer. So yeah, it will be great. So just review them once. OK, then in the end, when you pass your exam, it's time to celebrate. So that's the icon I've got on the right. Just celebrate your victory, basically passing the exam. So once you pass the exam and you end your exam, you see something like this on your certification board. And what happens is once you pass it, your badge takes some time to arrive, okay? But once your badge arrives, you can see it on your Microsoft certification dashboard. So I've included the link here. For example, if you click on it, it takes you to your Microsoft certification board where you can see all the certifications you have done. I mean, obviously, sorry guys, I haven't done much, but yeah, you see your badges here, whatever you're done, okay? Then once you have your badge there, Microsoft also gives you some transcripts. So this is the link to access your transcripts. So you can click on that. It will again take you to a new page where you can see your transcripts. So yeah. Okay, so that's how you get your transcripts there, okay? So yeah, that's how you earn your badge. You passed your exam, guys. Then in the end, just the last slide on, as I said in the beginning, once you have passed exam AI-900, then you can target some next step certifications. So one is, I mean, what I think from my point of view is one could be Azure Data Science Associate and the other could be Azure AI Engineer Associate. And this is something I'm targeting in next 3 months. So yeah, if you guys want, you can go through that. I mean, if you're really interested in learning machine learning, AI model implementation in a Azure no-code environment, then yeah, you can go for this. And after this, maybe you can go for this. So yeah, that's it, guys. I mean, good luck for your exam. Hopefully this session was helpful and gave you a little bit of insight on what AI-900 is. And I'll be really, happy if somehow this session can help you in your preparation journey for AI-900. So yeah, thank you. And in the end, yeah, if you guys have any question, then please feel free to reach out to me any of these platforms. I'm happy to answer any questions after the sessions as well. So yeah, let me know if there are any questions.
Thank you very much, Pragati. That was excellent. I really enjoyed it. There's only one question in the chat, and it's from, I think it's Iad. I may have pronounced that wrong, so apologies if I have. Is there a code or script we need to learn for AI-900? So I don't know if that's a question for you or me, because you directed everyone to the Microsoft Learn material, which is obviously good for preparing. There's no fixed script for this. That's probably the best place to start, I would suggest.
Yeah, I think that's the best place to start. And if you are talking about, I mean, if I understand that question correctly, it says, is there any code or script we need to learn? Do you mean about learning a coding language like Python or R? If you're saying that, then no, you don't need to learn that, because Azure Machine Learning Studio provides you a no code way to create these predictive models. So you don't need to learn any programming language. You don't need that for this exam. It's more around no code solutions. So yeah, be I mean, free about that. You don't need that. If you don't know, it's fine.
Hopefully that answers. I think it does. Programming language, yeah, that was it. Thank you. Okay, so they don't need to know anything there. Chrissy says, congratulations, amazing presentation and precise information. One question, where we find the presentation with all the links you've included?
I think I'll share the presentation with you, Yathin. Maybe we can put it on the Meetup channel. I you guys can access it.
Yeah, so we can chat with Mark about that. If you've got a GitHub, or if Mark's got a place for it, we can work out where to put it. But yeah, we'll definitely make it available after.
Yeah, because I remember last time I put it on the Meetup channel, and from there people just picked up the example. So if that's fine, I can put it up there. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be it. Cool. And I don't think there are any others. Guys, if I could just ask you, if you haven't done so already, please provide your feedback. I thought it was an excellent session. Thank you very much for taking the time, Pragati, and thank you to everyone who's come along. Thank you for Microsoft for sponsoring and everything else. Thank you very much. I think we can probably draw it to a close if there are no further questions.
Yeah, I think thank you so much for giving me this chance to give this exam cram session, and obviously too quickly because I just gave the exam, so things were fresh in my mind to prepare for this session. So thanks for inviting me. Thank you.
It was excellent. Thank you very much.
And yeah, thanks to the audience for attending the session.
Cool. Right, so what I'm going to do, I'll stop the recording now.